Imagine if school was a place in which you could decide as a student what you wanted to learn, whether it was art, music, dance, technology, literature, and had the power to explore possibilities for your future at a young age. Is that hard to believe? Does that seem very far from the present that our schools today in America? The American education system is trying to reach what the education system in places like South Korea is, with a big emphasis on standardized testing. But along the way, they are killing the creativity of children, emphasizing competition over cooperation, limiting the choices young people have to expand their learning, and turning them into robots, learning a repetitive process of memorization that can be then measured through testing. In an article for the Washington Post, Valerie Strauss talks about the overemphasis on standardized testing that has led teachers to eliminate projects and activities that provide students with an opportunity to expand their creativity and imagination. This emphasis on standardized testing has led schools to forget that it's important for kids to participate in activities in which their imagination is stimulated, and instead begin to train them from grades as early as the third grade to perfect a process of learning made for standardized testing. A survey by the Northwest Evaluation Association in 2014 found that 70% of teachers feel that the focus on high-stakes testing takes too much time away from learning. In fact, a survey by the Council of Great City Schools found that students spend about 20 to 25 hours on mandated testing each school year. Measuring students' performance through standardized testing creates a comparative system that promotes competition and many times discourages students from learning. Schools should be a safe haven for kids to learn skills and values of what it means to be a human, and that excitement of curiosity to learn should not be lost along the way. Knowledge should not be limited to core subjects like math, reading, and science, but every kid should have the opportunity to explore music, art, technology, and dance, and other fields that the education system considers extracurricular and not an important part of what a kid's education should be.
Having the choice to choose what you learn, all students would be driven about their studies and grades, and their grades would improve drastically. Of course, there would be exceptions to these, like the students who don't have as much ambition to learn, but creating a positive environment that encourages uniqueness and individuality would be very beneficial, not only to students' mental health, but to their physical future as well.
A 2006 national survey by the Center on Education Policy found that 44% of school districts in Washington, D.C. increased instructional time on core subjects like English and math over other subjects. And then, in 2008, it was shown that 60% of districts reduced class time on music and art by 35%.
My experience with education, especially in high school, I'm not gonna lie, I always felt like there was a double standard between projects and areas like the arts, theater, music, band, dance, compared to other areas, especially in Texas as a general. I've realized that, talking to other classmates here in college, is that football and like certain other sports or academic projects take precedence over things that they don't think is going to raise money as much as theater and other cultural projects.
In our society, we don't want people enslaved by a system of memorization and repetition. We want creative people, independent and brave, to express their ideas to better the world as a whole. Which is why schools need to integrate the arts and more programs of learning other than core subjects as part of education paths that students should be allowed to choose.
I really think if students had more input and they really had more of a say in what they wanted to learn, especially in the field where they should have input, it would really inspire them and attract them more, and it would get more emphasis and more love for the arts out there in communities, especially communities like, South Texas, where theater and other arts aren't always emphasized or as well liked stereotypically for a variety of reasons.
It has actually been proven that the arts benefit students academically. And a study done by the University of California found that students with art involvement perform better than those with no involvement. and a comparison of SAT scores shows that students with more years of involvement in the arts attain higher scores than those with little to no involvement. It makes no sense for schools to spend less time on the arts when results have shown that they in fact improve students' abilities. But it is more important for schools to give their students the freedom of choice to decide what they want to learn. In fact, one education system in the world is already taking steps to give students more freedom of choice to choose what they want to learn and choose their own path for the future. Finland's educational system is based on the idea that education is meant to grow students towards humanity and become ethically responsible members of society by providing them with knowledge and skills needed in life. Therefore, Finland's educational system is built upon ideas like equity and cooperation over excellence and competition, which is why there are no standardized tests aside from one national test at the end of high school, and cramming students with work is not practiced. Finland follows the principle that one should be allowed to choose their educative path, which should never lead to a dead end, and focuses on giving students the freedom to choose how they want to study and what they want to learn. This is why the upper secondary level is split into general and vocational education, in which students can explore various careers and study paths with no repercussions. Finland's educational system is actually considered one of the best educational systems in the world and is constantly shown to outperform the United States in the program for international student assessment scores, placing 13th in math and 5th in reading and science in 2015. Another example of an education system giving students more freedom of choice and enhancing their creativity is Casa Sula in San Mateo, Costa Rica, which was co-created by Marcelo Valanci. This community-supported school in Costa Rica has no grade divisions and has students ranging from the ages 3 to 18. The school is built upon the idea of using what's available in your natural surroundings, which is why children can be playing with clay from the ground and making their own toys to expand their creativity. Casa Sula is a cooperation with parents from the community and a group of teachers, and many times students can be seen practicing trigonometry and learning various languages like English and Spanish. The school practices the principle of giving kids the freedom to expand their creativity and choose their own path. Parents from all over the world decide to leave their traditional education system to take their kids to study at Casa Sula. The education system that we have now needs to change and adapt to the time in which we are now, which is why it's important for schools and the Department of Education to open their eyes and see that standardized testing and not opening the path for more arts and technology for students is not the right way to do it. For many years, people have advocated for there to be a change. So why is our system still based around standardized testing, gives little to no choice for students to choose what they want to learn, and doesn't put the big emphasis that the arts and other career paths should have? It is important for us, the youth, to speak up and stand up for what we want our education to be. So if you're watching this, use your power and creativity to be heard, and finally, bring change to our own future.